Hey, also, according to some interesting news today, Tango Gameworks has been rescued from ultimate liquidation by Microsoft. Or is that good news or bad news? That's what I want to discuss today. So, Tango Gameworks was originally founded by Shinji Mikami, very prolific. I mean, I couldn't even sit down here and name all the games that he's been involved in from a director producer side. And he left in 2023, and I guess Microsoft decided, well, without Shinji Mikami, this studio can do literally no good, and so they shut them down. Even though every game they've made has been pretty solid, to be honest. Hi-Fi Rush, of course, Ghostwire Tokyo, the Evil Within series, and so yeah, they liquidated them in May. And just recently, we learned that Krafton, a developer in South Korea, which I wasn't so familiar with Krafton as a name. I think Kraft mac and cheese. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But they've acquired the studio. So they've acquired the talent, and they've also acquired the rights to Hi-Fi Rush. They didn't take Evil Within or Ghostwire with them as well. But this was pretty cool news to see, because it was very embarrassing that Microsoft even made such a decision. And I guess from their perspective now, instead of just shutting down the studio, they can take its husk and then sell it for money, which I think for me is kind of personally even more disgusting. But okay, whatever. To each his own, Microsoft, I guess. Good decision making there. But it's also interesting because Krafton, I looked a little bit into them and started to understand a bit of their history too, and there are some pros and cons to it. So they're helping to transition Tango Gameworks, of course, to Krafton, which is really cool. And I'm very excited for that talent to still be retained at that studio and for them to continue to work on games. But Krafton has kind of an interesting history. They are best known for PUBG and best known for Callisto Protocol. So let's talk about PUBG a little bit. I was reading some stuff from earlier on in the year, and Krafton is pursuing an aggressive AI strategy for the development of their games. And being that they have only a couple studios that do full-time development work, I guess we'll see kind of how that plays. It's probably more PUBG focused, but I wonder if that expands out to a lot of their developers underneath them as well. And they've also talked about franchising PUBG. And if I'm understanding this correctly too, they have some say on Subnautica. And so Subnautica 2 is looking at being a games as a service model as well. And so there's a lot of things Krafton related that I'm not so excited about. I am always happy that they're out here purchasing companies and giving them the opportunity to still thrive and do what they do best. But similarly, since 2018, their founding, they've liquidated or integrated 7 developer studios into Bluehole, which is like the main primary subsidiary of the company. And so there's a little pros and cons there. I think it's exciting news that Tango Gameworks will be given the opportunity to continue working on Hi-Fi Rush as an IP and to continue retaining that talent and giving them the opportunity to work. But I also have some concerns that Krafton may try to take the IP and reorient that image to something they're hoping to get out of it, instead of allowing Tango Gameworks to do what they do best, which is craft a very interesting game, a very interesting story. It's always tough because I just don't want to see publishers getting too much oversight into the developer process. I think developers should be allowed to make their decisions much more independently. So those are just some perspectives. Again, really excited to see this. Have some hesitations about their publisher themselves, but really happy news, just based on how embarrassing it was what Microsoft did, just said at least. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you think Hi-Fi Rush 2, is it finally going to come? I guess we'll see. All right, guys, you have a good day. See ya.